Hi there. My name is Allison. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Jason.
Jason. Nice to meet you. So what brings you here today?
It's kind of hard to talk about. My girlfriend wants me to be here. I mean, it's not like I don't want to, but we just have some problems.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the problems are?
Yeah, I mean, we've been together for like a year and a half, and I mean, she's gorgeous. Like, she's a really pretty girl. Like, she's beautiful and she's smart, and sometimes I feel like, like out of my league type of thing. But I get like really jealous, like, and it's just causing problems, like in our relationship. Like,
Well, jealousy can be a very common emotion that, young people in relationships feel. And jealousy doesn't always need to be looked at as something 100% negative. I mean, I'm sure that it comes from a caring place. Would that be accurate to say?
yeah, I mean, I don't think I act very well when I'm jealous, but it does come from like I want to be with her, and I don't want her to be with anyone else. And like sometimes I have these feelings or like thoughts that she's cheating on me, or like that she would cheat on me, and like, I don't know, I've accused her before and we've gotten in fights about it.
Okay. And was there some kind of specific event that, or I guess some sort of action on her part that kind of triggered you to feel that way?
Um, yeah, but I don't know how, like, I mean, like, she keeps telling me it's like irrational, and like maybe it is. I don't even know. Like, she's a more social person than me. I'm just like chill, and like I just like to brew beer with my friends, and I like to, like, throw the football around or whatever. But I just have my like little group of friends, but she's got like a million friends, and like she's always out and seeing people. And one time we were like in bed together and just like laying down, we had like had sex or whatever, and she got a message from this guy, and I'd never heard his name before, never heard of him at all. And it was like a text message, and it said like, hey, I just saw the new profile picture you posted, and I just wanted you to know, like, you're absolutely unbelievably beautiful. And I didn't even see it, like, it popped up, and she saw it, and she told me, like, and she just turned and she was like, oh my god, she's like, look at this, how weird is this? And she like showed me the message, and she's like, well, what do you want me, like, how should I respond to that? Because like I don't. And she said that I asked her how she knew him, and she told me she met him at a party like a year and a half ago or whatever, and but that they never went out, and she was never interested. They just like became Facebook friends or whatever, and and I was like, oh well, how does he have your number? And I was like, and she's like, well, it's on Facebook, so. And I was like, well, why didn't he just send you a Facebook message? Why is he texting you? And then like I got really mad, and I felt like, I don't know. After that, like, I know she like, I mean, it seemed like she was like trying to be honest. She showed me the message, but like, it almost seemed like why would you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I just, that's not the only thing. But that's like the thing that like got us into. It didn't really get us into a fight in that moment, but like a week later, I kept thinking about it, and like I looked through her phone. Um, yeah, and that's what kind of made her like tell me, like, you have to go like talk to someone, because this isn't working, for me.
Okay. Well, so there's a lot going on there, and from what I'm hearing, it sounds as though you almost are, in a sense, glad that she was able to be honest with you about the message, rather than you finding out about it in some other way. Would that be accurate to say?
Yeah, I mean, like, yes and no. Like, I mean, honestly, I'd rather not have even seen it, 'cause I always have these worries about her anyway. Like, I've always, like, just, I think, like, you know, she's so pretty and, like, smart and has all these friends, and she's, like, talented. She's, like, a really good, like, she, like, spins fire and stuff like that, and does gymnastic type of stuff, like aerial stuff, and you know, like, she's just so, like, magnetic or whatever, and I'm always thinking, like, oh, there's got to be somebody out there better than me. Like, I don't know why she's even with me. And so when I saw that, it was like confirmation that there's, like, other people into her, you know. And, like, I feel guilty because like, in my head, like, I know, or in my heart, I know that she wouldn't cheat on me. Like, I trust her. But in my head, it's like just all these thoughts, all these negative thoughts.
And do you feel as though these thoughts are affecting your relationship?
Definitely.
So there is a lot going on there, you know, and we touched a little bit upon how, you know, like, your worry and your sort of, I guess, you know, your jealousy is coming from a place, is coming from a somewhat positive place. It's not completely negative. And jealousy is something that can be tricky because, you know, many people see that as sort of a negative emotion. It has a very negative connotation. But at the same time, from our perspective, you know, it is sometimes coming from a place in which we just, we truly care about that person, and we're getting jealous because we care. So that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing, you know, that you know, you were able to verbalize and list all these great qualities about your girlfriend. But what I'm also hearing is that you know, you mentioned kind of feeling like you're not good enough, and that she might be in some ways superior to you. You touched upon a little bit how, you know, that she's gorgeous and she might be out of your league a little bit. Where does that come from? Do you feel less than, in a sense?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like I'm just, like, average, you know, like, average looks. Like, I'm not, like, you know, I'm not, like, this big muscly guy. I'm not, like, some fat, like, dopey loser or whatever, but, you know, I'm, like, I don't look at myself and, like, see, like, this gorgeous, awesome man, you know, whatever. Like, she'll say that stuff, and I know she believes it, but, like, I don't believe it. And, you know, I mean, like, I know I'm smart and I'm passionate about the stuff I do, but, like, I just feel, like, average. Like, I just blend in, you know, like, she stands out, and I just kind of blend in.
Okay. That's a powerful statement right there. You know, it's kind of highlighting the fact that, you know, you're sort of seeing your girlfriend in an extremely in a positive light, of course. And you're feeling as though, well, you know, it doesn't sound like from what you're saying that you're unhappy with yourself in any way, but you are feeling sort of an inferiority complex in a sense, and it sounds like that you're worried that someone better than you might come along one day. And does that sound accurate?
Yeah.
So that can be really hard, you know, and I think that, as said before, it's very common with young couples who we always, you know, while we might be secure in our relationship in many ways, there is always that fear of someone who we perceive as better or superior coming along and taking that away. So that can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So now, tell me a little bit more about your relationship in terms of, you know, kind of moving away from maybe, you know, as we touched upon the jealousy factor. Tell me some of the positives about your relationship.
Well, that's pretty easy. I mean, she's awesome, and we're awesome together. I mean, we met at, like, a beer festival a couple of years ago, and, like, I was in a relationship at the time, so it didn't really go any further, but we, like, became friends on Facebook, and, you know, and then when I broke up, my girlfriend and I broke up, you know, I was just kind of single for a while, and we ran into each other at another beer event. Like, we both really are into beer, and, you know, not like Bud Light or whatever, like good stuff, and craft beers and stuff, and so we would kind of, like, you know, like, I asked her out or whatever, and, like, I didn't really expect, like, that she would want to be into me in that way, but I just kind of hoped, and we hung out a few times, and from there it was just, like, obvious it was going somewhere. And we like to, like, we do a lot of photography together. Like, you know, I said she, like, spins fire and stuff. Like, a lot of people take pictures of her, and, like, she'll take pictures of her friends and stuff, so they all kind of share that in common. And, like, I've always really been interested in photography, but none of my friends are, so we kind of, like, have bonded over that together. And you know, she's supportive. Like, she's really supportive of whatever I want to do. Like, I left my job a while ago. I had a terrible job, and it just sucked. I worked way too many hours, not enough appreciation. And she kind of, like, gave me the confidence I needed to go after, like, my dream job. And maybe I don't have the dream job yet, but I'm on my way there. So she just gives me confidence, makes me feel good, you know.
That's very great to hear. It's really nice to hear some of the positives about your relationship, and, you know, it sounds like that you two are happy together.
Yeah.
But it all, you know, and going back a little bit to sort of some of the things that trigger the jealousy to come out. So it sounds like, you know, the triggering event, we could say, was that she received a text message where someone else was obviously commenting on her, how beautiful she was, and which ignited, obviously, that emotion for you. So what would you say that the consequence of that belief was? So, for example, like, let's look at how you felt immediately after, you know, your girlfriend showed you that text message.
Yeah.
What was that initial feeling? We did say jealousy, but talk to me a little bit more about what you were feeling when you saw that message.
I was angry.
Angry.
I was angry at that guy because, I mean, our profiles say we're in our relationship, you know, like, we post lots of pictures together, so even if, like, he doesn't see her all the time in real life, he's obviously looking at what she does online, so he knows she's with somebody. So why would he text her, you know? And then that's why I got jealous, because I thought, well, if he knew she's with somebody, like, no good person would do that, or, like, no person with, like, good morals. So maybe she told him something to make him feel that way, you know, like that he could text her, that kind of thing. So I just started, like, questioning things, and you know, questioning us. And I did feel jealous. I felt angry, scared a little bit.
Tell me a little bit more about scared. That emotion right there.
Well, like, it's hard. It's hard to talk about feeling fear. You know, it's like, I'm a guy and I'm not supposed to be afraid of anything, you know, like, I'm supposed to be strong and whatever. But I'm just afraid, like, that she would leave me, that she would see those compliments. And I mean, this guy's, like, jacked. I mean, he's like, and he's not like a meathead either, you know, I, like, went on his profile page and I looked at him and kind of, like, you know, I wanted to see not what I was up against. It sounds stupid and paranoid, but, like, you know, I guess even just sitting here I sound stupid and paranoid. But, like, he's, like, you know, was in the army and is, like, a musician and does all these things, and it's like, he seems exceptional like her, you know. So I'm, like, scared that I'm not going to be enough, like, that she's gonna at some point, whether it's that message or something with us, or it's just one day, she's gonna wake up and not want to be with me anymore. She's gonna see me for who I am, just an average person.
So there's a lot right there. And, you know, and what I'm hearing is that you're seeing this individual who messaged her as kind of, you know, sort of on the same level as her. And I think that, you know, from what you're saying, that is sort of triggering thoughts for you that your girlfriend is going to leave you for someone who you're kind of perceiving as on her level based on, based on some information. Like, yes, you're looking at his physical appearance and like what he does for a living. You said that he was in the Army, and these are qualities that it seems like you're sort of telling yourself that your girlfriend would like, that she would, want to be with this person based on these qualities. But I think that what you sort of have to tell yourself is that she's with you, and she's with you for a reason.
I mean, if it were that easy, though, like, I would just do it, I mean, like, I know she's with me, I know she loves me, I can't stop those feelings. I just can't stop the feelings of, like, I'm not good enough, and I just feel like...
Well, I'm wondering if, now, it sounds as though your feelings about the situation, they're coming from a place where I think that you read a lot into the situation. So what started off as just a text message, you're kind of perceiving it in many different ways, and it's triggering a lot of anxieties.
So you're saying, like, I'm, like, crazy? Like, I just, like, I made this whole thing up in my head? Is that really what you're saying?
Not at all. I think that your feelings are coming from a rational place. I think that, they're not out of the ordinary. It's a very common thing. I see clients all the time in relationships, and, especially with social media and, in that availability and accessibility, where we're all so connected to one another, and seeing something online, seeing even just one sentence can trigger and stimulate a variety of different emotions, and they're all coming from, like I said, a very rational place. So not at all. It's not anything out of the ordinary for you to be feeling this way.
Okay. It just seemed like when you said that, I felt, like, judged. I felt like maybe, like, you thought I was irrational or, like,
Oh, okay.
crazy.
Oh, not at all. I apologize if my wording of that triggered that for you. Not the case at all. I think that we can definitely do some great work here in this session that can sort of reframe your thoughts a little bit. And,
I mean, I'm open to it. I'm here, so.
Absolutely. I think it's very positive that you're open to it. So.
I just want it, like, I just want a relationship. I just want to feel more confident. I don't want to feel those feelings of jealousy anymore. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, I don't, I mean, she told me to come here, but honestly, I'm kind of relieved. Like, I'm relieved that I'm here. Because it's like a burden. It's a burden to feel that way all the time.
Absolutely. I can imagine that, it would definitely also interfere, as we touched upon earlier, interfere with aspects of your relationship. It can interfere with, your overall daily routine. Can I ask what you do for work, or and other activities that you kind of fill your day with?
I'm a software manager. I do so I kind of like work with computers and stuff like that, and it's a pretty good job. Before, I had just been doing like IT stuff, and like IT stuff is fine, but you can only go so far. So I do that, and I love the place I work at. I work for Zipcar, and it's a really cool office. Like, you have like beer on Fridays, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has beers on Friday after, like, not like go out, but there's beers in the office, and it's kind of like a neat environment to work in. I do like social Boston sports sometimes. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like this thing where, like, young professionals, mostly like 20s, 30s, like, get together and they play like dodgeball or football or things like that. I'll do that once in a while, but mostly I'll just like, I'll get together with friends and we'll like throw the football around a little bit, like whatever, just be morons, like hang out with my friends. I don't get like hammered or anything, but we'll try like good beers and like, and when my girlfriend and I are together, like, she and I will, a lot of times we'll go to like different destinations, like local stuff, and take pictures. And we've been looking at like, lately we've been looking a lot at like getting a puppy. So she's really excited about that. She wants one of those little floofy dogs. I'm not on board, but whatever makes her happy. So yeah, I mean, generally I just have my stuff that I just do, it's like,
Great.
I'm happy with it.
Well, I really liked the statement that you just said, whatever makes her happy, because I mean, it sounds like that to me signifies that you're invested in your relationship. And you know what, it sounds like she is too. And from what it sounds like is that she, you know, the activating event that we discussed earlier in which she received that text message, it sounded as though her telling you was her way of keeping you sort of involved and included in what was going on in her life. Do you feel that?
Yeah, it's funny, I didn't think of it that way at first. I thought it must mean, now I feel kind of guilty because I thought maybe that she was hiding something from me, so she wanted to pretend to be open like that, but that's not how she is, I do think, now that you say it that way, I feel like she was just trying to keep things open. I mean, she never hides stuff from me. She's always open, sometimes too open. She's always talking about some little thing or another, and always wants to talk about her feelings, and so it's not like she's someone who doesn't, who holds back.
And now how do you...
It's just hard to see that.
Absolutely. And now how do you feel, what you just verbalized to me was that you're, looking at the situation in a different light. How does that make you feel in terms of your, let's compare and contrast sort of that emotion that you felt, when you saw her receive that text message, because you mentioned that there was anger there was jealousy, and now let's look at sort of the consequence of you looking at the situation from that angle that we just discussed a second ago. So now, you're looking at it as though, oh, well, here she is trying to keep me included, trying to be honest with me, not hiding things from me. So how do you feel knowing that? Looking at it from that perspective.
Really positive. Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It makes me feel good inside because, I mean, she could have hid it, and she would be doing nothing really wrong if she hid it, or not hid it, but she could have not mentioned it, is what I mean to say. She didn't have to say anything. I didn't even see or hear it come in. We were laying next to each other, we were both on our phones, and I wouldn't have known. So the fact that she went out of her way, and she probably didn't feel comfortable, and that's probably part of why she told me, so that, she could share with me something that was happening. So it makes me feel good that she can open up to me.
That's great to hear. And it sounds like, and from what we said earlier, it sounds like the both of you are invested in sustaining the relationship. And again, it must be really difficult for you to sort of be in the position where she is getting, other forms of attention from males who you described as sort of being similar to her, or, you sort of, in a sense, seem to be in some ways convincing yourself that she would sort of end up with someone who is kind of on her level, in a materialistic way, in terms of looks and interests, but from all the information that you're giving me, it sounds as though, I mean, she's with you, and she's with you for a reason, and I think that if she wanted to be with somebody for, sort of vanity reasons, like we touched upon earlier, with the, with the...
Yeah, but, I mean, you're saying all this stuff, and, I get it and everything, and, I understand, this situation, what you said was really helpful, that, that everything with, me and her, with the situation feels like, I don't want to say resolved completely, but, that, we're, I don't know, we're just, it's a good thing that I feel better about the situation, but, when it happens again, it's, just not that easy to just, take away that initial reaction. My initial feeling was, to be jealous, and it's happened since. Even as we're sitting here talking, I kind of feel I mean, I feel better about that one thing, but it's not just one thing, it's, other things, I feel, I think about, I don't know, like she's going, like next weekend, she's going to this like fire spinning retreat or whatever. And like the guys there, like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not into guys, but if I was a girl, I wouldn't be into these guys. They're kind of whatever, just weird yoga doing whatever, you know, not like whatever.
Not your
but
cup of tea?
Yeah, no, you know, but even though there's like not people there that like I'm like worried about or jealous of, I still feel like jealous. Like I almost don't want her to go, but I never tell her that. Like I have this feeling like that she's gonna have more fun there than she would with me. And like, I mean, I want her to go and have fun, like I said, in my heart, but in my head, I like wish she'd just not go at all. I just like don't want it to keep happening, and I feel like I like can't break that cycle. I don't know.
It's very difficult to sort of be faced with that because what I hear you saying is, you know, you obviously want your girlfriend to be happy and enjoy herself, which, you know, is obviously very normal, but at the same time you're also feeling as though you know, you don't want her to go. So, you know, I think that can be, you know, you're dealing with two very kind of conflicting, you're in a conflict. It's, and you don't really, do you feel like you're able to address that with her? Like, do you feel as though you can talk to her about that?
That's a good question. I think I need to think about it for a minute.
That's fine. Take your time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could. Hold on a second. I think I need to just clear my head for a second.
Take a break. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can take a break
Yeah.
for a minute.
Okay.
I'll give you a couple of minutes.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
How are you doing? Did you give yourself a couple of minutes to sort of
Yeah,
reflect?
I think I just started to feel like a little bit of like panic and like.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Where that panic came from?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could talk to her. You said that was a question, right? Like, do you feel like you could like talk to her about it?
Yeah, just in terms of you know, you mentioned you know, many positive things about your relationship. Like you spoke about how you're able to have fun with her and you're able to you two are able to have you two seem to trust each other. But how is your communication? Are you able to sort of express your feelings to her in a way that, you know, in a way in which she's able to be understanding?
The way our relationship works, it's more like she's more of the emotional one, you know? That's why it's like hard for me being here, because, you know, I mean, I'm like a sensitive guy or whatever. That's one of the things she loves about me, but I have a hard time like saying what I need, and I don't know. Like, I feel like we do have a good relationship, but I feel like if I tell her, like, I worry that she'll, you know, think I don't trust her, first of all. You know, like, 'cause there's no real reason for me to want her to stay home from this trip. It's gonna be fun for her. You know? So, like, fuck, like, I'm just gonna sound like this insecure douchebag. Like, I'm gonna sound so weak and that I can't, you know, and then I'm worried she's gonna like think, you know, oh, my boyfriend's like, I mean, why is Jason so insecure, like, why would he, you know, want me to stay home? And I'm just worried. I mean, even, I'm sure she won't be, like, mad, like, outwardly, like, she'll probably just say, well, if you don't want me to go, I won't go, or, like, you know, but I feel like she might, like, take offense to it. Like, I just, I mean, she's not gonna be mad at me, but, like, I feel like she'll see through me, like, see how, like, the weakness, and I don't want that.
Absolutely. Do you feel like that there's maybe an alternative method or way of approaching this that that might work for both of you? So, for example, do you think that there's a way for her to possibly still, you know, go to this event, and then but for you to feel okay about her going to the event? Do you think that it needs to be her completely not going? Do you think that that will provide long-term happiness or security?
It's a really good question, actually. No, because it's just going to be another event. You know what I mean? It's or
Right.
whatever it is. It's like I said before when I mentioned this, the fire spinning thing this weekend. You know, I had mentioned it as like, it's just like the text message. There's always going to be something else, and it's like, I don't feel like telling her not to go, or not telling her, Jesus, asking her not to go is going to really, like, solve the problem. It'll solve it short term, you know, like, I'll feel better, you know, and we'll get to spend more time together, and I'll like that, but I know, like, I need to change something about the way I think about things. I have to, because I'm a loser if I don't.
Well, that's a really compelling statement right there. You're establishing a goal for yourself, which is excellent, and establishing, you know, what you want to get out of this session. Essentially, you want to obviously create a way for your relationship to be sustained and for both of you to be happy. But it was really compelling when you just said, you know, not just for the short term, because you're absolutely right. You know, we could convince her, you know what, please don't go to this event, stay here with me. But you're asking yourself, which is excellent, is this going to provide, you know, long-term happiness on both our ends?
Mm-hmm.
Because what it sounds like is that, you know, realistically, right, are you going to be asking her to skip every event? I mean, you two, I think that in order to have a sustainable relationship, are going to have to branch out separately and trust each other to be around people, and so.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
So what do I do? Like, how do I'm like here because I want to figure out like how to change that. Like, how do I change the way I think about it? Like,
I think that that's a great question, and that's what we're here to work on. That was a goal that was established for our session. And so what I'm going to show you here is, and this is a little bit of a homework assignment for if you decide to come back to therapy. And this is something that I think that, you know, at first you can potentially do on your own, but then I think that something like this might be helpful to include your girlfriend in, if you feel that that's appropriate at the time.
oh, she'd love it. She's all about the emotions,
Oh,
you know?
that's great.
She'd
Yeah.
probably be happy to do it with me.
That's great to hear. So I want you to sort of go back to that one event, and we'll say that the main event that we discussed in this session was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but witnessing her receiving a text message from this gentleman. That sort of was the initial.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a gentleman, but you know, you give him more credit than I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we'll go back to that moment that made you sort of develop those, you know, those beliefs of her potentially wanting to, you know, what we discussed, of her potentially wanting to leave you for him, things of that nature. And then what I want you to do is write down, you know, what that situation looked like. So I want you to, or even what you could do is, if another situation comes up at some point next week that might sort of trigger some similar emotions that you were feeling, I want you to write it down, and then I want you to write down you sort of need to assess kind of whether or not your thoughts about it are irrational. So for example, from what I'm guessing, do you feel like the thought that you had about her leaving you and possibly going to meet this guy, Do you feel that that was an irrational thought or rational?
Probably irrational. I mean, she's never acted sketch or anything. Like, she's like really sweet and wonderful to me, and
Okay.
you know, I think it wasn't very rational of me.
So what I would say is, so that would be a, so what we talked about earlier, that first event, that would be what you would write down, the irrational thought. And then I want you to write down a more rational thought, something that's much more realistic. So you would write that down, and then I want you to compare and contrast the feelings that you had between, the rational, what you felt right immediately after the irrational thought and the rational thought. And then I want you to take a look and assess what your behavior was like, how maybe even that affected your relationship. So for example, now let's say the irrational thought triggered a feeling that led to, maybe you and your girlfriend having some tension or getting into an argument. That would essentially be the behavior, because arguing is a behavior. And then maybe what came out of the rational thought was a feeling of kind of clarity, calmness, and then I want you to write down the behavior that came from that. And that behavior could be, you and your girlfriend going out and having a great time together, or having a really nice conversation sitting at home.
Okay.
And I think that once all of that's laid out and written out, I want you to go over that, like, sort of with yourself first, and then, like I said, maybe include your girlfriend in it as well, if, as you mentioned, she seems invested in you kind of getting help with this as well.
Okay,
So.
I think I can do that.
Okay, great. Well, I'll have you take this home then, and we'll go over it next week and see how you did.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks.
You're very welcome.